Hello, everybody. Welcome to Popcast on the Rocks, episode 182. We're a podcast that talks about pop culture things that interest us. And sometimes there's whiskey. My name is John, and I'm joined as always by Andrea. How's it going?
Good, good. How about yourself?
Very good. Especially good because we got Mike back again tonight. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, it's going great.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, we're back again to talk about Daredevil, keeping it going. And Mike, I appreciate you being here, particularly tonight, because tonight is the release of 2 more Daredevil Born Again episodes.
The things I do for you guys.
I know.
We appreciate the sacrifice. Why two, though?
I'm guessing it just for a story, works out better or something.
Interesting.
I don't know.
I am now terribly curious because that's obviously not the norm because, we're 4 episodes into a season.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, if you're releasing sets of episodes, it's right at the beginning. So I'm kind of curious if somebody somewhere was like, oh man, you need to pair these episodes. We have to release them both.
Yeah, Matt Murdock dies.
Yeah, there you
go.
Hey,
that'd be a weird Daredevil show.
Honestly, I have to say, this show, I would believe it because there were some surprises and there are some cliffhangers at the end of these 2 episodes that I just went, WTF. These writers can nail a cliffhanger at the end of the episode. They really can. I'm not so sure always about the stuff in the middle, but the ends, 100.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, maybe they just was too much of a cliffhanger, or they didn't have the right cliffhanger for these next episodes.
Maybe. So either way, curiosity peaked. So I don't know, potentially good marketing strategy.
So if you're here in chat with us, hopefully you've watched through episode 4 of Daredevil Born Again. That's what we'll be talking about, episodes 3 and 4. And then when you're done with this, then you can head out and watch the next 2. And then we can't delay in having our next podcast, I guess. We won't have the same sort of setup.
You're so close to being up to speed.
I know, yeah. Okay, so that'll be the main topic. We'll get there in just a little bit. Before that, we'll see if we've been watching anything else that's worth talking about. And but we should start with drink holidays, Andrea. What are we drinking?
Yeah, short but sweet since we're on a regular schedule. Reaching back to mid-month, 3/15 was espresso martini day, which sounded good, but I drank all my coffee too early. I couldn't save any coffee. So couldn't really do that today. Some days it's just coffee days. But yeah, so espresso martinis, 3/15 was your day, followed closely by, basically anything, but especially well suited for this podcast. March 17th, of course, St. Patrick's Day. Particularly suited for this podcast because sometimes there's whiskey. Then we have on March 20th, Bach Beer Day. Still don't think I've had a Bach beer.
Oh, I'm sure you have. You must have.
You think?
At some point,
maybe unknowingly, but I don't think I've ever I honestly don't think I've ever found a Bach on a brewery menu and been able to be like, finally I can order this and try it.
Okay. I know I have.
Never found it on a tap list.
I'm sure that you've had go to said brewery, give you 5 different, samples, and amongst one of them. Yeah.
Maybe. Because I don't know. That would mean
there's no way to prove this. I'm just guessing that's
conjecture. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess I've never I have looked since we started doing the podcast because I was interested to know what the difference was, and haven't found it on an exclusive tap list yet. So the search continues, but perhaps I've had one in a flight.
Maybe this weekend.
Maybe this weekend. Yes. You'll have to film my victory for a short for the podcast if it happens.
Yeah, perfect.
But then, yeah, that's obviously a very specific drink holiday. And then back kind of a zoom out was yesterday was International Cocktail Day. So that's a wide range of things. Pretty sure
I feel like
everybody
that's
here's
a
got a
cop-out.
cocktail. Internet, right?
Yeah, this is alcohol. This is good.
There should be a day that's just alcohol day. Some of them are like pretty far reaching. Like I like in particular bartender day, like National Bartender Day, because I was a bartender, but it's very broad. So
yeah.
Is that like in recognition of the hard work that bartenders do, or like is that like Labor Day for bartenders, like, or is there something other specific about that? What is the
I
goal?
think it's just like, hey, recognize the bartender in your life. They provide a good service.
If
They
you
work hard.
typically don't tip, now's the time to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Tip your bartender. They probably have to put up with a lot of fussy people or a lot of drunk people, like not fun kind of drunk people.
For sure.
I've done both.
Do you tip a bartender if you have to tell them how to make the drink?
What are
If
you
it's
ordering?
if it's something wildly specific, or you're making like 7 modifications to something so that you're not even making it the drink anymore.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
like I want a rose tinted toenail. And they're like, what?
You should write that one down. That could be a thing. We'll come up with that for
rose tinted toenail. I like it. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to be insane picky,
right.
yes. If you're like, hey, I usually like X thing, with one substitution, then
Yeah.
discretion. It's your best judgment. But yeah, generally.
Okay. Just curious. All right. Well, you guys drink anything? You matching up with the holidays at all?
Well, we know what I'm not doing, which is Bach Beer Day.
Yeah.
No, so I am. Yeah, exactly. Tell us what's in it.
I don't even know.
I did go broad. I'm celebrating yesterday's holiday, which is International Cocktail Day, with my current favorite. We had made a dinner that called for fresh thyme. And I was like, great, what am I ever going to do with this now? And so I found this like gin sour recipe that for the simple syrup, you make like a thyme infused honey simple syrup. So that is what I have, this thyme honey gin sour.
Very nice. That sounds good.
Awesome. It's so good.
You are flexing the bartender chops right there. That is cool.
I am.
Too.
I didn't even mean to bring up, National Bartender Day, but dang, I must have just been feeling myself.
It's like CrossFit or being a vegan. It's just coming up.
It just has to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, the CrossFit thing's funny because that was really a thing for a while. Now I don't know anyone that says they do CrossFit, so I don't know. Well, very good. Yeah, I feel lame in comparison. I didn't do anything as fancy, but before I get there, Mike, I sent you the list. Did you feel like drinking anything? Did you pick up something or you mix something together?
So I knew you'd feel lame. So I just wanted to come in underneath you there so that you didn't feel the lamest.
Prop me up.
I was thinking of you. It was all about you, John.
I appreciate
so I've got
that.
nothing.
Okay.
I really don't have alcohol in the house, like for the most part. I generally only have it if we had people over, right? And it's for them, and that's been a while. So I've got nothing left. So.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I'm just trying to use up that giant thing of mango nectar that I got before. And so
don't lie, that's Mountain Dew.
Yeah, right. That's no, this is
John's like, I am drinking alcohol.
Right. I should have done that.
Yeah, let's see. For the
that there's alcoholic Mountain Dew though.
Oh, really? No.
Yeah. There's like a hard Mountain Dew. Somebody somebody I know gave it as like a joke white elephant gift to somebody else, and I was
Mm,
like, "Shut up! This is hilarious."
maybe it's good. I don't know. I like Mountain
Maybe.
Dew. Yeah.
We can tell you like
Mm,
Mountain Dew. You got a big old glass
sure.
of it right there.
Yeah. No, I did do I had a mocktail on the anime podcast, and we really talk about the drinks
Mhm.
usually on there. So, but it was like a mojito mocktail. It was actually really good. So, but
Nice.
this is tequila, mango nectar, Sprite, lime juice. So,
It does
Sounds
sound
good.
good.
yeah, it's refreshing. Oh, I like a good tequila drink.
Me too.
Okay, drinks out of the way.
Sorry.
Cheers.
Alan sent a link to the hard Mountain Dew if you want to look at it.
I looked.
Oh god, it's so
Um,
ridiculous.
I got to
I
get that live
mean,
wire now, just
it
because
looks
that
kind of
tiger's
cool.
cool.
Oh, they got a Baja Blast one.
Yeah.
Oh man, but
Yeah.
I don't want zero sugar. Like, what's the sugar then?
No.
5%. It's a 5%. Let's see here. This is very important. I'm doing learn more, and I really don't. I don't learn anything more.
Well, the
Like,
bar is really low
Except for
because
buy
like
now.
yeah, by now.
everyone's downing seltzers
Buy it.
nowadays. I mean, if ever there was a time to have a hard
Right.
Mountain Dew, today's
Right?
the day.
That's not
Oh, they have a
untrue at
Baja
all.
Blast mix, John.
Mix.
So they have
What
a
do you
mix
mean?
pack. So they have it with regular
Oh,
Baja, pineapple,
okay.
punch, and mango,
Yeah.
and they're all Baja Blast variations.
Hmm.
All right, I'll get this for the next podcast. All right.
Okay.
There you go.
I have allergy. What allergens are in
Look at this. This is
there?
peak bartender right here. I'm matching people with drinks, helping you out.
Yeah. hmm Well, anyways, if anyone's out there and drinking these things or has one on hand, let me know what there is for sweetener in there. Because I'm not drinking something I can taste this nasty sweetener in it.
Sure.
You know, if it's buried enough, then all right. But okay. Well, that's that. Let's
I got
talk.
the sweetener.
Yes, I would try a Mountain Dew mixed with some sort of alcohol. Of course, it's it's I have Sprite in this. It's like a lemon lime
Yeah,
Yeah.
soda,
Yeah.
for
basically.
sure.
Okay, here Alan found it. Any artificial sweeteners contains I don't even know what that is. Sucralose, yes, so that's annoying. I don't like the taste of that. And then I don't even know what the other thing is. Don't know. Maybe that's the one that I don't know. Anyways, I'm not going to search it out. Mike, you'll be able to search it out. If I happen to see it, or it comes across my way, I'll try it.
Sounds great. I'm ordering it right now. Literally typing it up right now.
Do it. I love it.
All right, well,
I'm done.
does that, Andrea? Have you been watching anything this last week other than Daredevil?
No. I mean, yes, but no. Just excited for Detour this weekend, so been watching a lot of anime.
Okay. Yep. How about you, Mike?
Um, I've been watching Reacher, the new season of that, and
Oh,
I
Oh.
finished it. So that was a little bit
How's
of a
that?
bummer. There's just something about that show that feels like it's this very strange mix between this is just a big dumb kind of uh, soap opera for like
Okay.
dudes, and then
Mhm.
every
Okay.
once in a while, like there's some intelligent aspect to it. But it's like it's the character is. Oh my God. This is a character that I would have written in high school. Like he is the opposite
Oh,
of
sure.
whatever a male Mary Sue is. He's Superman, right? Just
Sure.
good at everything, instantly knows everything, every minute detail, recognizes everything. He's always got it covered.
Sure.
So that every once in a while when someone gets something over him, you're kind of like, no,
Mhm.
it's just a fun turn your brain off kind of show.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
It's an absolute house. It's fun to watch.
Oh God, yeah. He
Unreal.
is built. It is insane. I mean,
He's
to give him that credit, he looks like Reacher.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, he does. And,
Yep.
you know,
Sorry, Tom
his
Cruise.
delivery is so dry that if this was the only thing you ever saw him in, you could maybe think that he's like a bad actor. But when you know that he played Thad in Blue Mountain State, which is the absolute polar opposite of this, you know he's actually acting this way,
Yep.
right? So I appreciate it.
Okay. Do you think he should be Batman? He wants to be Batman. He's publicly campaigning to be Batman. He's gone so far
He
as saying
would
like,
have
I'll
to
do it
get
for free. I don't
smaller.
even have to like get paid to be Batman. Call me.
He would have a good jawline for Batman, but he would have to get smaller.
You
Why?
think so?
Yes, just get like a little less stacked. Like I just don't see my Bruce Wayne like hulking out of his shirt, you know?
Yeah, but Batman's supposed to be able to like bench press 1,100 pounds, like for
I know.
reps.
I know, but I feel like that's
Okay.
part of the superhero mystique where like,
Mm.
you know, he's not going to rip out of the bat suit to do it.
His
You know what I mean?
animated
Like
versions are pretty jacked.
he is. Yes, that's true. That's true. But that's just like so different. You know what I mean? I feel like that's so specific to the animated character, you know, that I almost would hate to see like a live action guy built like that. But I mean, I don't need him to be, you know, tiny either. I don't need it to be like super unbelievable or like Keaton was not
Mhm.
like overly muscular.
Mhm.
I don't need him to like go all the way down to that, but I just don't need him to be like Reacher buff.
Okay.
I have been seeing this like Instagram short go around that's like, here's a mid physique in 2025, and this guy's he's big and he's like whatever, he's like bodybuilder level or whatever, and then it says literal superhero in the early 2000s, and it's Tobey Maguire in the mirror from Spider-Man. It's just like, yeah, it's just such a
Yeah.
dramatic.
He
I think
he
we're saying
was.
inflation is real. It's a
Yes. Yes, he was.
but
For that time, he was jacked.
hmm
Didn't look like
and
he could
great
be. So I feel like
Spider-Man sort of shape.
yeah,
He was
and I feel
ripped.
like I love Tobey Maguire, but like his face and his haircut did not lend to like I have secret muscles. So when he did, you were like, oh, like you actually did do the thing. Okay, I thought we were gonna like, pretend or have CGI or just like maybe never look at you, but wow,
So,
okay.
Andrea, when I get muscles someday, what haircut should I have to say that I have muscles?
He just sold like that bowl cut, that just like thing that everybody had when they were like 9. If
Yeah,
you're a
he
millennial.
was. Yeah, he was innocent. He's innocent.
Mhm.
So I'm just saying, like, I don't know. He really just had a look of like, I don't have any secret muscles under here. I bought and sold that, and then he did.
Every once in a while, I'm going to text you a haircut style and ask you, like, is this muscly or does
All
this
right,
say muscles?
I'm gonna thumbs up, thumbs down. You're gonna
Okay.
you're gonna get the unfiltered thoughts.
Send the haircut from No Country for Old Men. I want to see.
Yeah. Mhm. That's a good one. Okay. Where were we? Oh yeah, Reacher. Batman. So I think he could be Batman for sure. I don't see why not. Like plenty of if you like the animated series, the comics, is very common for him to be drawn unrealistically ginormous. And he stands right next to Superman and Aquaman and the others, and they're just even the Flash. You think of the Flash as like a zippy whatever guy. He is ripped. All of them are specimens, Greek gods.
Mhm.
When you translate that to movies, I think people realistically or understandably like, well, okay, well, people aren't like that. We're going to not have that. Well, steroids, you know, supplements, whatever. Times have changed, and you can find people that are bigger, the net you cast for finding
Mhm.
actors is wider than it used to be, all that sort of thing. And yeah, you can have that. My question is, I still have trouble envisioning him as Bruce Wayne, because
Yeah.
if we are like stereotyping by just the way people look and stuff, you know, I think Christian Bale was kind of reaching that peak for like musclehead, but also like
Playboy
sophisticated
billionaire.
and yeah, right. Versus like, yeah, I spend my entire life in the gym, you
Mhm.
know, and I'm a born freak of nature at like 6'8", yeah, whatever, like
Yeah. This guy is like, for me, it's like approaching The Rock. You know what I
mhm.
mean? Like,
He
it's
looks
just a
more
like you said,
proportional than The Rock, though.
I agree because he's taller, but,
Okay, yeah,
but it's just like you said, this guy is clearly, like, in the gym all the time. The Rock is clearly in the gym all the time. Like, neither
yeah.
of them, I think, should be playing Bruce Wayne.
See, I think you can portray Bruce Wayne as the guy that's in the gym all the time. He has very few demands on his time. He has unlimited wealth, so he would have all of the best nutritionists. He could have all of the best trainers, right? If anybody could be sold as someone who has the time to be an absolute ripped monster, it would be
Mhm.
somebody like Bruce Wayne. Look at what happened with Jeff Bezos, right?
Yep.
That
True.
dude got in fantastic shape, so it's not even unheard of now. Um, so
I'm gonna say
I,
one thing, though.
yeah,
Bruce Wayne is, like, totally isolated. You know what I mean? Except for his, like, pretend facade. So he would yes, you are correct, he would have the time and he would have the resources to, like, build himself an insane gym, but he would not have, like, nutritionists and trainers to guide him
mm,
because he has
But
that's a good
Alfred.
point.
but the public could think that's the case, though.
Yes,
You know.
I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
because he is, like, so, like, private about his life that I don't know. Maybe it's just because that's the way they've traditionally sold his existence as so solitary, but
Sure.
I
Yeah.
sort of buy into that.
I think there's a
Yeah,
lot
it's,
of room to play with that for sure.
Sure.
It's like we do have a lot of different interpretations of who Bruce Wayne is, even just in the movies. And yeah, I have my preferences, but
I'd be curious if he could pull off the charisma. I think that's something that Christian Bale nailed with Bruce Wayne
Mhm.
was the public charisma and persona aspect of that. Touting right on the border of being just an asshole, right? But a charismatic
And
asshole.
he's
It,
right, and he's got
yeah,
money, so
right,
we put up
right.
with him.
So like Thad, the two portrayals that I'm familiar with from this actor being Thad, who is I think he's charismatic, but an absolute psychopath, right?
Yep,
And then you
yep.
have Reacher, who's an absolute psychopath, but for the opposite reason, who's just this recluse, very cold, calculated, straight to the point kind of person. Neither of those have the Bruce Wayne effect at all. So basically, can
Mhm.
he meet in the middle and hit that effectively? I'd be interested.
Yeah.
well, either way, I am just like hold your horses, man. I'm still counting on the Batman 2 happening, and I hope that's the case. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
I mean, all this is moot because I don't want another Batman, so
Right.
Totally
Yeah.
get
valid.
out of here.
Mhm, mhm. Okay, well that's great. I hadn't heard too many people talk about it, but I'm glad you're getting on that one. Um, I haven't really watched anything else other than yeah, it's been anime. We talked about that in the anime podcast. Um, yeah, it's been slow. Watched the Daredevil,
Mhm.
and that's about it. I watched a like kind of recap sort of celebration ish thing of Andor season 1. They
Oh,
had
yeah.
the showrunner on, and just like in the lead up to season 2, they were kind of talking to some of the actors and stuff, and they're hoping people will rewatch season 1 leading up to 2 and some of that. So yeah, about it. Okay, let's talk about Daredevil. But first, right before we do that, Mike, why don't you tell everybody about your podcast and stuff? Let's just let people know so they don't have to wait till all the way to the end to hear about
Oh,
it.
my YouTube
Or not your
channel.
podcast,
Oh,
Yeah.
your channel.
yeah. I went out. So it's at Track Mouse on YouTube, and I went out on a limb and had the audacity to think that people would want to listen to me for an hour as I sit in my garage and walk around my car, breathing heavily, trying to talk about the different parts that are on it. So, yeah, basically, if you happen to follow it or you're interested in what goes into a garage-built race car, I spend an hour kind of going through. Some of it are basics. Some of it is me going off on a tangent because I didn't have a script or anything. I just started talking and thought it was going to be 15 minutes long, and then all of a sudden I had like an hour's worth of recordings on my phone. And I'm like, what the hell happened? I ramble. Who knew? Who knew?
Yeah, perfect. It was good. It was good.
Thank you.
Okay, so everybody go check that out. Follow Mike,
Yeah.
and let's get into Daredevil. So episode 3 and 4 of Born Again. I swear I took some notes somewhere. I don't know what happened to them. So
I opened that doc and like it was all blank, John, except for you had written Daredevil.
okay, I'd put in.
I was like, okay. Like I added episode 3, episode 4, you, me. I added what's new, drinks. Yeah,
I
John's
must
been a
just
little
put it in
sleep
somewhere.
deprived
you wrote John Daredevil, and I was like, okay.
on his
John's
Daredevil.
telling me. I was going to say he's telling me a secret.
Daredevil? Question.
Yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, what did we we talked about the first 2 episodes, and for me it was sort of a mixed bag. Then we talked
Mhm.
about a little varying in like tone and some of that. But 3 and 4, how do they Mike, what these an improvement, or would you feel come away?
I think they're catching their stride. We talked about like reshoots and whatnot, and I didn't feel that. This time it felt all coherent. And, I don't know anything about, what it's like to be in court in real life. I've done jury duty one time in my life, but this felt a bit more. I liked this courtroom drama. Let me put it that way. I'll just say that I liked it because I don't know how it's supposed to feel. A lot of times in shows, they let them go off onto these crazy tangents. There's supposed to be a question there, and then the attorney's just filibustering, right? And I doubt that actually happens. This doesn't do that too much, to some extent. I really liked dealing with the white tiger and the court piece. I do think we're rehashing some topics that we've gone through, but I think it's at least done well, and so I enjoyed it again, and it got my brain percolating on should vigilantes be a thing? Can we justify them, right? And then you've got the public view of that Matt Murdock is trying to argue with, and then internally he's actually asking the same question. It's interesting. He's defending the thing that he has given up, right? And so I think he is slowly justifying to himself why Daredevil should continue to exist, and you kind of see that progress. So I liked episode 3 specifically before we even go into the big spoilers of it. So
Okay, Andrea.
Yeah, I agree in major part with Mike. I thought 3 and 4 hit a better stride in getting into some interesting questions that were different. We've already rehashed, I think, the point that the Born Again story has been done within this very specific Daredevil universe. And I got a little bit nervous when we had another vigilante go to trial with Matt defending them. It's like, oh my, are we really going to erase seasons 2 through 3 at this point and, relitigate literally what's been done? So I was excited to see that these took a different tack, a different direction, different outcomes. There were still some same questions there, but they were grappled with differently. So thank God for that awareness. And like I said, in our kind of opening, I was teasing a little bit. I really thought that there were some great cliffhangers, some things that happened that I really didn't see coming, while also having some nods to the original 3 seasons. Um, especially enjoyed some background and thoughts about Foggy, which just made me miss him more. So yeah, so I think these 2 episodes were definitely a step up from the initial 2.
Well, I want to disagree somewhere, but don't, I guess.
Oh, come on. Hey, devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Daredevil's advocate.
Mm,
All right, I'll see myself out.
we'll probably have to have Pete on for like the finale or something, because he'll be the one that will be, really, because he did tell me that episode 3 was like, an affront to, superhero shows, like an embarrassment to call it a superhero show. He's looking for someone. He's like, well, Daredevil, can we have Daredevil in the Daredevil show? Is Daredevil going to be in the Daredevil show ever?
Not in Born Again. Do you know what I mean? Like that's very on par for this storyline.
I hope, but last season was that too. Then, as we talked about, last season we spent a lot
but
of time running around.
But they're pretending, like, so you know what I mean? Like we did get a fair amount of Daredevil in that very first episode. So, I mean, and he's clearly, by the end of 4, like he's clearly like coming back. He's starting to haunt rooftops, like ran into Frank and had a whole breakdown about, you miss it, you want it, you want the permission to go. So, I mean, it's not like we're going to go a full season with no more Daredevil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he would like the White Tiger cameo, right? Which, is an episode cameo, but I didn't know anything about him, but I figured somebody like Pete would.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that he and I imagine some others are looking for Daredevil in the suit, running around beating up superpowered bad guys every week. That's what we want to do, and like for me, that's what, why this is more interesting is because it's not that. Like I can turn on a Saturday morning cartoon of X-Men and it's excellent, and I'll watch that. And that's the X-Men fighting evil mutants every week. That's fine. But this was like, this is a more grounded thing, which I typically want from, live action, and so I don't know. I get invested in the drama. For instance, in season 3, I actually really liked the episode that was all about Karen. We found Karen's backstory. We like, if I didn't care about that character, yes, that episode is boring. But they've made me care about Karen, and then we fill in a whole bunch of mysteries and make things make more sense by getting that. Yeah. And so it's like, yeah, well, Daredevil's in this episode, but this is like the drama is there. It's the same thing for me as like someone saying, well, there's no lightsabers in Andor, so it's no good. It's like Daredevil suit isn't in this, so that's so good. But I won't, we'll have Pete on here to defend his point, of course.
Yeah, that'll be fascinating. I want to be on that one too, because I feel a little bit bad for Pete, because I think it's going to be like 4 or 3 of us versus Pete, and so I'll try and back off on that a little bit. But I'm the same way. Is like, hey, I still know that Matt Murdock is Daredevil, and Matt Murdock is a key part of Daredevil, right? And we are still dealing with Daredevil. Like I said, we're playing out a court case for White Tiger, for Hector.
Yeah.
But that's just what's on the surface. That's not really what is playing out here, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah. No, some of my favorite stuff is when Matt Murdock is beating the snot out of people. Like, I like to see that actor in there doing that and stuff like that. Versus,
so you liked the end of episode 2.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
and I love their little confrontation again here.
Yeah.
It's like, Oh, you're gonna have to bring back more of your buddies next time, aren't
Yeah.
you? The little hallway
Yeah.
spat. That was
That
good.
that scene was excellent. I love what they did and how they honed in on that cop's heart
Mhm.
rate, to show that he's not lying, which, I wonder if it would really work that way, right? Because like with lie detector tests, if you're just talking about his heart rate, I mean, maybe he can smell the secretions of,
Yeah,
certain
yeah.
pheromones and adrenaline that comes with it. But like, I would think that cop's heart rate would be elevated because of what he was talking about. Like it's
Sure.
elevated from a matter of passion, not because he's lying, right? But like
Sure.
he
Yep.
believed that with every fiber that he's doing the right thing, that his family has done the right thing.
Sure. I
I
feel
always
like
took it.
no,
Go
you
ahead.
go. You go.
Well, I always took it as um, he's waiting for inconsistencies, not the
Yeah.
heart rate itself, but like if you
Skips a beat.
lie, that it like skips. And
Yep.
so so
That's
the same as a polygraph, like
okay.
bam, and then it's so to find the
Yep.
baseline where you're at, and then your heart rate might
Yeah, if it's
as a
elevated
subject
or not.
just, but then it spikes.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's fine. Then I still think the heartbeat should have been faster. It was a very calm
Yes.
heartbeat, right?
Yep.
And okay, the guy's a very calm guy, and that's great. But like, that was a moment where he was aggressively defending himself and his
Yeah.
family and the badge, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
But it was fascinating. I like it. You know what I didn't
Uh,
like?
hmm.
Mm. Is it Fisk?
I didn't like how he smelt out. I think I'm thinking about episode 4 quite a bit here. I didn't
Okay.
like how he smelt or found the casing. Like,
Hmm.
listen, you're an attorney. You're not a detective. You don't need to be a detective. You're not Batman. I don't need you to be Batman. And now we are
Mhm.
really pushing the boundaries for like what you're able to detect with your senses. I get the whole idea of, ever since I
Mm.
was a little kid, if I wanted to find something, dropping a marble in the same place and seeing where it rolls, that's fine. Convenient for a bottle to be there, the little alcohol
Mhm.
bottle. And then even once it goes into the drain, are we saying that he could smell the gunpowder in the casing from outside of the drain amongst all of the other smells? How did he
Oh.
find the casing? He just reached down there and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is the casing I was looking for." Like,
Well,
come on.
Sure.
the there's different explanations for the radar sense. So we'll describe it as a radar sense. And in this show, if you remember back season 1 early on, you had him like hitting things to kind of like create and then
Yep.
the rain hitting
Yep.
everything. It's sort of trying to but everyone has sort of a different explanation of trying to you know tell you how he sees. And
Right. But
so
now we're just
I'm
pushing that away because he didn't do anything. He was just standing there.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, look, the bottle fell in the thing, and that would give him
In the catch, yeah.
without being able to look inside, to actually be
Mhm.
able to sense what's inside, because he's not seeing it. He's literally isn't see. It's
He didn't even feel for it. He literally reached right in next to the bottle, touched nothing else, and was like, casing.
yeah, but the bottle fell in, right? So that's like a
So I think that are you mad because he didn't like fumble around for it? It was just like I have zoomed in on this.
Yeah, he didn't fumble around for it. He could have like tapped the drain with the cane or whatever to
Sure.
pick up that vibration, but the bottle fell into there while he was like 33 feet away, right? And then
Yeah.
he walked
Okay.
over, and I'm following, right? The bottle
Mm.
trick, I'm with it. It's just
okay.
we're getting to a bit of a crazy point, and I think I'm ridiculous
Sure.
calling out Daredevil for that. But that was one scene I was just like, dude, come on, let's wind
Sure.
it back a little.
Sure. I
I,
see
I
both. Like I like the essence of the trick, like John said. I get it. I get where he would like sense that, like you're saying, the bottle rolling, it catches in like the drain backstop. Okay, like there's a chance that, the bullet casing would have rolled down there too. So I'm gonna go get it. But yes, reaching in and just being like, get it.
Mhm.
You could have added the extra step of it's like John for you when you were like, Daredevil wouldn't be snuck up on by a car.
That's what I'm thinking. That's my bigger thing is the inconsistency.
Yes.
So yeah. So I get it.
Mhm.
There are definitely, I think, small moments where it could have been like, "Ooh, we should have probably put that extra thought in here to not
Mhm.
do this or to do this."
My, I always veer in the favor of making the ability more fantastical than less. I mean,
Mhm.
if the way that this show has done it a lot is, I mean, even in season 3 when he got all messed up and discombobulated and stuff like that, then he's having trouble against just normal people. And often
Yeah.
he's again in these seasons he's been fighting normal people, just many of them in a lot of cases. And when you look at the comic books and stuff, that's not always the case. He is swinging across rooftops. He is doing masterful feats of aerobics, acrobatics. He is like, he's fighting other superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
He can
Yeah.
like go. He's not going to beat Super or Spider-Man, but he can go toe to toe with Spider-Man, who can like lift trucks and stuff because Spider-Man has a spider sense, which gives him the idea that something is wrong.
Yeah.
Daredevil can actually tell the thing that's coming at him from 360 degrees and whatever. So
Yeah.
I'm all in favor of increased awareness and abilities, and because that's why I want to keep again. We wasted time going from season 1 figuring out who he was and like learning the powers and all that sort of thing to season 2. He's got a lot better, but then season 3 he loses it. And so we have to build back up again. And we're just like wasting time when I want to see him at his like prime.
I agree. And also, well, I only agree. I think this would be great if this was the first time that Daredevil had done this. This would I would have no qualms about this. But because we're redoing a storyline, it's frustrating. And I want to apologize. The only reason I was giggling in the background when you were talking about jumping is because I was thinking of the horrible jumping in the Ben Affleck movie where it's so bad. It's so bad. They just like leap like several buildings and it's just like I am literally flying through the air like a jumbo jet. It's oh god, it's so bad. Sorry. Because this show hasn't really done that. So, I don't have that frame of
Yeah.
reference and that hopeful, cool aspect of that, but I hope a little bit more realism. So that's all I
Yeah.
get in my head is that horrible CGI.
And they can do that, keep adding like the abilities and stuff and not lose the gritty nature and the realistic nature that comes along with this. Like when you still get in yourself in a corridor, we can still see proper fighting technique and it's hand to hand. It doesn't, it doesn't have to get crazy all the time. I just sometimes it loses that. You go too far
Mhm.
over, and then it's just I don't know. They get lazy with the rest of the fight choreography or something like that.
Sure.
I saw that in the last Spider-Man movie. I thought all the action sequences in that were boring, really boring. Um,
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
it just none of them made an impact. Some were hard to see. Versus like I remember specifically in Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, he's fighting the Lizard, and the way that he's like ricocheting himself like through the hallway underneath them and everything is just very dynamic and awesome and whatever. But
You didn't
anyways,
like when
I didn't
Green
get into it.
Goblin was beating the ever living piss out of Peter in the apartment complex?
I don't remember how that. I don't remember how that
That's a
went.
shame because that was a pretty visceral scene. Actually, I thought that was
Okay.
really done well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I guess what sticks in my head is the kind of final thing. We've got all 3 Spider-Men together. I thought that's a potential to be really awesome, and it
Mhm.
wasn't. It was kind of flat for me. So,
Gotcha. What'd you guys
okay,
think
well
about
that's good.
Sorry,
No, let's say
I was going to say, what do you think about the cliffhanger from episode 3?
well, so with I mean, I remember him getting shot.
Yeah.
Dead.
Oh my
Bam.
god.
I didn't see it
that one.
coming.
No. That was crazy. Mike, I don't know how you held on to that when we were.
It was so fucking hard. Oh,
Damn.
it
I
was
just didn't.
so
I
hard.
didn't even. I didn't even see that coming. That was insane. And it was so good, like a slow mo. I'm putting the suit back on. Here's my
Yep.
amulet, pulling the
Mhm.
mask down. I mean, business, and bam. That was good.
It
Realistic.
needed
So
Spidey
good.
sense. It
Yeah.
is realistic. It reminds me of Kick-Ass. You guys remember that show? That movie?
I mean,
Yeah.
it's been
Yeah.
years, but I
Yeah.
liked
I
it
was
when I
gonna say
saw 'em.
it's been a little bit. But yeah.
It's just like, yeah, you're a vigilante with superpowers, but you're still a person.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I
Yep.
mean, yeah, he's got the amulet, so that's the thing. Like when
Yeah,
he doesn't have
extra
it.
strength, but not bulletproof strength, I
Right.
guess,
Right. Well, and yeah, I mean, it's so interesting because thinking back on it after, Matt makes such a point of like, talking about him without the amulet. And that's the point of him risking his life and, him doing all these things. He's like, with or without the amulet, he still does these things. He's a hero. He's just an ordinary man. If he's not wearing the amulet, it's like a hand tied behind your back. So they really
Yep.
play that up. And yeah, after the after the death, I was like, wow, yeah, I guess he is just a man.
Mhm. Yeah, I thought it was good. I enjoyed a lot. Like you said, Mike, the court drama seemed pretty good. I think they exaggerate all court dramas ever. That's just the way it is.
Mhm.
But I liked that. There was that tension of, oh, we got the guy, we managed to get him in. He's coming to the stand. But that whole thing was good. I thought they caught him, but they were a step ahead. That
Mhm.
was well
So
done.
different
And
than
then all
Punisher.
for him to fold anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
so different than Punisher.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That whole trial, getting him there and all of that, and everything about this trial felt nearly opposite to Frank's, but not in a like, oh, we're just gonna take this and reverse it kind of way.
But what it was similar to was in season 3 when they were dealing with someone. They're trying to take down Kingpin the right way.
Hmm.
And so they're bringing him in and sneaking him in, all that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
then Matt could hear through the door that like they had gotten to the jury, and so it wasn't going to
Mhm.
matter. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They kind of blended some previous things.
Mhm.
So yeah, so it didn't really feel like, oh, we're just like reversing X trial, but
Yep.
yeah, it went well.
Um.
Do you?
So go ahead.
It,
Mm.
it, it went well, but Matt kind of. The interesting thing to me is, in order to win the trial, which Matt thought was right, he signed Hector's death warrant, right? I mean, because you call him out, you say who he is, right? And that's ultimately
You
why
outed
he
him,
was,
yeah.
yeah, right? So now both of his personas are out there, right? And now you're toast. Had he not done that, if he could have won the trial without it, Hector could have gone on playing this character and not necessarily gotten popped right away. Who knows? It's still Hector's decision to that very night or whatever we're supposed to assume, right? That he gets freed. It's
Yeah.
still his decision to go do it, which is ridiculous. But I mean, to me, that is an interesting thing about it because every time he is trying to help the, you know, the wrong thing, he ends up making the wrong choice in what he thinks is the most righteous good, right? Foggy ends up dead. This guy ends up dead. Like, he could have just ended up in jail potentially, done some time, at the very least. I don't know.
Yep.
I think that part is interesting It's also, according to the link that Alan shared, there's no way this white tiger should have gotten shot point blank in the side of the head like that in an empty alley, according to his abilities. But that's another thing entirely.
Sure.
It's like Daredevil getting hit by a car.
Right. Maybe somehow we'll see more from him. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Seemed pretty
yeah.
definitive, but
I hope he gets something somewhere else because otherwise, like I said, shortest gig ever.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I do agree, Mike. I think and it was brought up in the thing. It really is wrong for Matt to do this. It's an interesting. When you watch all of Daredevil, like a lot of the times, Matt is the guy that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And so he is an interesting character. How many times in season 2 or 3 can you be a complete asshole to your friends? How many times? How many times can you be whining or crying about something, and I still like you, and then in this, you should be able to empathize more than anyone else with the situation. And what is worth winning to, that would be the call of Hector here. Is it worth winning this trial to have this identity out there? That really was not his decision and to make. And
in fact, Hector specifically said he didn't want him to do that.
Yes.
Right.
You guys are correct. And also, I do want to throw out that I think it wasn't just about winning the trial for Matt. I mean, it was, obviously. But it was definitely to very selfishly trying to test public perception of vigilantes as heroes and push that narrative for himself. He is testing the waters. He is he's testing that for himself. Vigilantes are heroes with or without the mask because that's how he wants to feel. And also, I think there was maybe a little bit of stick it to Fisk, who is, doing the whole crackdown on vigilantes are bad. And, so while yes, it was about winning the trial, I think it wasn't only about winning the trial that he was doing this. Was it not his client's wishes? Absolutely. Was it not in his best interest? Probably not. But I think there was definitely a lot of factors in Matt's mind when he was making that decision.
Sure.
That's a really good point, because I thought it was selfish just in the fact that I thought he wanted to win the trial so badly to prove that he could help without being Daredevil, right? That he could help as Matt Murdock. But now you're bringing in another element that it's selfish in another facet of, could I get away with this as well then? Could I change the public perception so that I'm accepted? I mean, that's a great point. Multiple ways that this guy is selfish. Freaking little only child orphan.
I think it really got me thinking about that once he had his conversation with, Punisher, with Frank.
Yeah, so we should get into in this episode 4 more. I will say, Mike, I had looked at his powers. I do agree. Probably shouldn't have been killed. And again, maybe he's not. Maybe it's you can only have so many, because we're talking about Foggy. Is there a cover up? We talked about that before. You can only have so many of those. You can play that card one time. So do you want to have that as a thing? Because I don't know. He has enhanced healing abilities.
Yeah.
In awareness. Literally says
seeing
that
in
he
infrared
senses.
and stuff.
I think either way they go, they're going to have an avenue for it. So, one, if he's truly dead and he just got snuck up on somehow, there are a lot of people like us who probably aren't as familiar with White Tiger's abilities, where we just,
Of course,
we did in the moment, we were just like, whoa,
Yes.
it was a great, final scene there. But if they do want to go like a resurrection, if he has enhanced healing abilities, if there's something, some miracle, Hail Mary, something, they could do it and stretch the bounds of his powers a little bit and maybe bring him back somehow.
That link says that he has been known to put his amulet directly over a bullet wound and it heals the bullet wound. So it's there. It's in writing.
Sure.
It's an option.
So yeah. So I mean, this clearly is an option. I don't know that they're going to go there, but they could.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Episode 4. We get some more of we get more of Fisk. We get some more marriage counseling. We found out about Adam.
Finally. Oh my God. These episodes were so annoying. I'm like, what is happening? Why are they so distant? Why are they so far apart? Who is Adam? What did he do? Oh God, finally I got some answers. It was driving me bananas.
It's definitely still jarring, like seeing this relationship so different. And
Yes, I
Vanessa
hate
be
it.
so different, you know, like
Yep.
so
You know, like Fisk, and I want him to like have a happily ever after, but it's weird. Their distance.
yeah, they should have their thing. Yeah, right. So but yeah, poor Adam, you know, locked up now while he enjoys his very
what I'm
large
saying.
dish of pasta and sausages.
That's what I'm saying. The ends of these episodes are so good. I didn't see that coming. I didn't
Ash
see
and I
this,
just
like,
both kind of thought he was maybe dead. We just figured out he's dead.
yeah, that's what I thought. So I didn't
Yeah.
see it coming that Fisk like had him and was just,
And I'm sure Vanessa feels left
torturing him.
again, right? Because
Yes.
Fisk left him. Now Adam just up in the blue and left, but she's like, well, she's got to imagine that Wilson's behind that, but maybe not, right?
Well, I imagine she thinks like us that Wilson killed him
Right. Mm-hmm.
or,
What'd you
disappeared
guys
him
think about?
somewhere else.
What'd you guys think about that therapy session? Like, I felt awkward for Fisk as she has to describe like his hands and stuff, and like she was like all in about him. It's like that's I don't know. That'd be hard to hear.
I felt like the question was a good one, but for her to be like, "Oh, I loved his hands," I was like, the answer is difficult for me. I think I got where the therapist was like, Matt's girlfriend was trying to get her to talk about like what, why she reached out and why she felt like the need, and all of that I think was really helpful for Fisk to
That's
hear.
a better question. Why did you reach out? What were you missing in the relationship? What were what needs were not being fulfilled? Not like, so what really gets you going about this other guy?
Okay, but that's not the question she asked either.
I know, but I don't remember the specific question, but that's definitely where it went.
I'm just saying, it was not like describe like the actual sexual relationship. Talk about his body parts. Like, yeah. So I got where she was going. I just didn't expect that was going to be the answer. I thought it was going to be a little bit more about the emotional aspect of it, or something that she felt was missing from her and Fisk's relationship.
Yeah. What do you think, Mike?
I thought it was awkward too. I couldn't help but play my bias out as that scene is happening. I'm like, of course she's taking Vanessa's side. Like, just by fucking default. Of course, we're in marriage counseling, and it's just, Fisk, shut up. You don't get to talk right now. We don't need to hear about how you feel. Vanessa, why did you like the way this guy felt on you? Like, that was the perception I had of it. Because
again, not felt on you. That's not the question.
No, but
I understand your sentiment, but I'm just gonna say she was not like, like walk me through like I would really love to know from the moment he seduced you, how it all happened.
So Vanessa goes like, what, do you want to know the details of like how his hands felt on me or something like that? Vanessa asked if she wanted to know the details. And I remember the therapist.
Vanessa, though, that's different.
Right, but the therapist didn't go, no, like, of course not. Like, tell me emotionally how he impacted you. No, she was just like,
I guess I don't remember the scene that well. I felt like Fisk was like, don't.
Fisk was.
Well, definitely,
he specifically say that. He said, let's not do
so that's what I mean. Like, she didn't have to say that.
She didn't. And I think that, so the point on that aspect is that I think this is highlighting that Vanessa is one of the few people that can emasculate Fisk. I think this is highlighting the power she has over him, though she's only now realizing like the power that she has over him, because he does. I think they're trying to portray he truly does love her. We've seen that, through multiple seasons, right? He will sit through this. He will take this. He will talk. Like, he's still going to get his, right? But he will put himself through this situation for her. Whereas with anybody else, even with Daredevil, like if they would have pushed this button, that would have been game over on the spot. That person is getting choke slammed immediately. She can do that, and she's learned that. So not only has she run the business successfully, right? But now she's able to do this. And I thought it was interesting that we're talking about Vanessa being with another man. And instead of hearing about Fisk's perspective on what that's like, and I left, but I was always fighting to come back to you. He said I was always going to come back. You knew that. It was just about, well, you left me, and this was a portion of this is me getting back at you, and a portion of it is me thinking you're not coming back. Right? That was the focus. This, I think, was all about empowering her. And then at the end, you cap it off with, "Are you in danger?" She's like, "Oh dear, no." Right? I don't know if she believes that. She doesn't know if she believes that. So, but that's what I grasped from all this. I like the scene. I was uncomfortable during the scene, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's good TV.
Yeah, I guess in thinking about it, I do think you are correct. Vanessa has a lot of power to hurt Fisk, but I think he also clearly has a lot of power to hurt her, because we've really seen them together for one season 1. And then he basically was like, "Get out, go. Like, I'll move you around. I'll do all the things." And again, it's all in the name of keeping her safe, but it's always like distance. Either you go or I go. You know what I mean? Somebody's always not there. And that takes a toll, I think. Does it mean she made good choices? No. She clearly is like a toddler, like, "I'm going to hurt you because you hurt me." That's the only logic that's there, and that's not rational adult thinking. And as for her realizing she has the power to hurt him, that's also something that you have to hope your partner treats with, maturity in any relationship, because everybody in a relationship has the power to hurt each other. You just trust that they're not going to do it spitefully, or, hopefully at all, but they're not going to do it intentionally, spitefully. Maybe sometimes they do it accidentally, or, are misintentioned because there's some sort of, joke or something that's happening. But yeah. So there's a lot of interesting power dynamics here.
Yeah. I'm ready. I was ready to see them together again, because when season 3 came around, they were finally reunited. It's like she wanted to be more involved. And so it's like before, it's like, keep me out of it, Yeah, she doesn't want to. And so that was a fun twist for her character, is like, oh, she's okay with this. That's weird, but like, that's the connection they have, and whatever. So was fun to explore what they could do together. And instead, we just went this different path, So we'll see. The kid that messed up his like aide came in and apologized, stepped out and apologized. That was a ballsy thing to do. That I had to get some respect from him. I love that they played. I wrote it down. They played just the tiniest bit of the Kingpin theme as he put his hand on the kid's shoulder.
Like, did they?
Yeah.
I missed that. I missed that detail.
It's like the first time I think I heard it whole show. that like menacing kind of sound. So
It'll be the last mistake you make.
yeah,
Mm.
right. Not taking that lightly. It's like, man, just a little bit of a, I don't know, a little bit of a media, debacle you got to clear up. It's not that big a deal. I didn't think, but guess so.
Without liking that scene, and then by the end, I hated it.
Oh,
Like
really?
you
Why is
said,
that?
yeah. I thought it was ballsy of the kid to step up and admit it was him. And I thought it was pretty decent of his, larger political advisor to be like, this is my guy, I take the heat, I'm responsible. That part was admirable. But then the kid kept going on and he was like, I would never do this. I'm so loyal. You're the best. I'll see you. Like, it was so much. I was just like, kid, stop with the admission. Say you're sorry. Don't keep trying to give excuses. Don't keep trying to talk your way out of it. Don't be like, you're the best person that's ever lived and I would never want to hurt you. It was so sycophantic. It was just like, I really want to avoid punishment. And
Mm.
Kingpin realized it and was basically like, cool, I guess, you are going to do anything now to like prove your loyalty. So this is great for me. But yeah, it lost my respect by the end. The initial admission took courage. Absolutely. Totally. But take your raps then. You got to take the punishment, whatever it is. You can't try to talk your way out of the punishment. Because when you do that, people tend to just feel the pity. They
I
don't
didn't
respect you.
I didn't like where it went. I didn't see it as trying to get out of it because I think he really thought he was going to get fired, and he's just saying like, "I am total fan. Whatever you do to me, get rid of me. I expect
Simping.
that. I will still
Simping.
support you." He's totally
No.
simping, and so
Yes, and
it's
it was
not
so much. I was just like,
cor-
"Please, please stop. I don't wanna hear
well.
anymore.
I
You
agree.
just
The
need to
right
say, 'It was
move,
me. I
right? Correct. The
apologize.'
right move
Whatever
would
you
be to do
think."
that.
Yes, just stop. Like, when you go so far, people tend to, like, feel like they have to backpedal. Like, "Oh my god, I made this one tiny mistake, so you obviously have to fire me. It's totally right. You're the wisest person." Like, you know what I mean? Like,
this
no.
is
That's
this
that's
is
that's immature behavior.
But Andrew, this is you speaking as an adult with life experience. This kid is
I
supposed
know.
to be a kid. So I don't think you're wrong at all. I think you're absolutely right. But does that make it good writing or shitty writing or somewhere in
I think
between?
this is
Like
realistic.
I do
It's
too.
realistic writing of a kid, but I was just like, "Oh
Yeah.
god, I know where this is going, and
I'll say
I'm over it already."
I didn't like his other political advisor. Like they did a good job with her. I felt like she had this sudden character shift where I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm on board. I like this woman now."
Mhm.
Like at first, she comes off as very
Mhm.
protective of her role, right,
Mhm.
and her importance. And this kid is a threat to that, and she very much exudes that. And then by the point where he realizes that the news thing got out, right? And he shows it to her, and she's like, I've been here before you. I've been here before Fisk.
Mhm.
I'll be here after you and after Fisk. That was phenomenal. I like that. That
Mhm.
confidence came back. And then, yeah, to your point, she takes ownership of it. She's like, kid, shut up, right?
Yep.
Stop. Um, those felt like two different people to me. And I'm not sure if I missed the transition or if the transition is just literally her seeing that this kid is fallible and she's like, okay,
Mhm.
I'm good. I'm fine. I'm not at risk here,
Mhm.
and then
Hmm.
takes ownership again. But I liked it a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, that's that. We'll see where she goes. That could be an inconsistency, but maybe she
Mhm.
has
I
a
don't know.
heart in there. If that's the, you know.
Yeah, I thought at least this episode was a little bit more balanced in presenting, the politics of the situation and Fisk's role as mayor and like his need to sometimes listen to advice and sometimes point out like, hey, you are talking to me about bureaucratic system that does seem overwrought and has way too many hoops to jump through. So like think in terms of solutions, not problems. And
Mm.
then also her being like, well, you're not just like a boss that can unilaterally just make things happen.
Yeah.
There was a lot of complexity I felt like that was missing from some other, I don't know, scenes of him as mayor.
That's a good point. It was kind of like her being like, "You're not president. You don't get to veto this. You don't get to executive order this. You
Mhm.
still have all these things that you have to go through." And like him coming to that realization, like that process, that's kind of my life in a nutshell. I don't work in politics or government or anything like that. But
Mhm.
if we want to get a project pushed through, right, and I'm the product owner for this thing, there's 31 steps I have to do, 14 forms that have to be signed, all of these sign-offs that have to happen. It's like it doesn't matter who you are, Fisk. Like you're not going to get through without doing this. And you can kind of see the wheels turning in his head, and then the light bulb goes off. Like, okay, you know the process.
Just
Tell me
do
the
it.
first step. Get it done. Yep, I want
Mhm.
this done. You go do it.
Mhm.
That's why having these three separate advisors with very different like backgrounds and sort of roles and like that's it. It's good. Like they're going to say
Mhm.
things that that's what you wanted as advisors. People that are going to have very different views, and so you're able to pick and choose. They're going to be work out in some situations and not in others. So, and we got his kind of stand-in for Wesley at the moment. We don't hear as much from him. He's just sort of like the get things done that I whisper to you sort of thing right now. But
Does he
yeah,
look like him? Am I imagining it, or do they look similar?
I don't think they look
Okay.
similar really. Yeah, I don't
All right.
The
know.
vibe, I think.
Yeah, vibe. Mhm. Yeah. Okay, what was the point of the little side thing we had here with the guy that was busted for stealing cereal or whatever? What was that about? Tell me this is leading to something
No, this was
because
just so Andrea and I can come back and make another liar liar quote reference. Stop breaking the law, asshole.
Asshole.
oh my god,
Uh,
I almost wrote that and I didn't even think that that's a line from that. Yes. I
um,
just said stop
I
committing crimes, asshole in my notes. Yeah, okay.
I
Wow.
I
There you go.
I loved I loved this like weird negotiation between Matt. You know what I mean? It was just like an auction of like sentencing. Do you know what I mean? It was so weird. It was so weird to
Mhm.
see this aspect of the law. But I loved it. Do you know what I mean? Like it was so
Mhm.
different. It's not showy courtroom trials. It's just like a weird back, meeting room where people are standing there and being like, yeah, I got this guy. You want this? You want that? You want, 5,
Mhm.
10, 20, 30, so different. I felt that it was refreshing in that aspect. Do I feel like this guy and Matt's interactions were refreshing? No, I do not.
That was
But
awful. It was
but
necessary.
yes, it was necessary, but this
It
that
was
that
necessary?
particular
Oh yeah.
yes.
Why
Yeah.
was this
Well, John,
necessary?
this is because this is again highlighting to Matt that the system is broken. He always
Mhm.
told Foggy that the
Okay.
system is broken, and Foggy always told him, no, it will work. And without Foggy there to say it will work, all of Matt's biases are coming back, and he's like, from the very first time that he is talking with
Mhm.
the woman who's giving the sentencing,
Yeah.
he's saying deterrence doesn't work, right? That's
Mhm.
not a real thing. And he
Mhm.
cites, some research about the fact that deterrence doesn't work. And she says, yes, it does, right? And goes back and forth. And so then his conversation with this guy after he gets the 10 days of jail time, the conversation is supposed to show you that they're going to throw me in jail. But throwing me in jail causes the problems that keep me in trouble.
Mhm.
That is ruining my life. This is not me. This is not a me problem. I'm a victim of my circumstance. I'm not a victim of my own actions. Now, whether or not you agree with that is a separate subject, but this is Matt coming
Mhm.
around to being like,
Mhm.
I have to be Daredevil because it's the only way
Mhm.
because the justice system
Mhm.
doesn't work.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you gave me that because I'm like, I don't know what this is about. I'm like, I was thinking it's just so we can, is this going to introduce another love interest? Because clearly
Hopefully.
being flirted upon heavily and like probably using that some to try to get what he wants.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we got another relationship coming. I don't know, but other
I'd be
than
okay
that,
with
it's like,
it.
this is a
Obviously, him and the therapist are going to crash and burn. So, whatever.
okay. Why you say
I mean,
that?
they are.
That episode.
They are.
Just because it's that kind of show, or
No, because I
is there
mean,
something
yes,
being shown yet?
but also because she's the therapist for Fisk and Vanessa. It's never like there's going to be an association. There's going to be a distance. There's going to be a weirdness.
right.
Like it's it's going to happen. It doesn't matter if he finds out tomorrow or 3 years after she stops seeing them. Whatever it is, it doesn't work.
I wrote in my notes that he would smell Fisk and Vanessa on her.
I saw that.
Which he totally 100% would. And Ashley said, well, maybe she showers before she sees her boyfriend. It's like, okay, maybe.
Yes. So I thought about that in terms of, because I saw your notes.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely felt that was plausible in this episode because she was in his apartment waiting for him.
Right.
So I felt like maybe she could have showered before bedtime. She looked very like, I'm cozy, jammied up,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Other times I wasn't like making that direct
thinking about
connection,
that.
but
Yeah.
yeah. But this episode, I was like, yeah, that could be plausible for this time.
Mm.
Well, and it's possible that he is smelling her, but like you can't just drop that in that moment. Like, you've been with what, Wilson Fisk? Like,
No,
What
but
is
as an
this?
audience, we need to know that he knows
Yeah, exactly.
somehow.
So
I get you.
So I don't know. We need people going through these, like, I think I sent it to you, Andrea. It's a clip of it's Ben Affleck doing the commentary for Armageddon, and it's just one moment of it
yeah, I
where
haven't
he's
looked at that
like,
yet.
he's like telling the director Michael
Bay.
Yeah, Michael Bay. He's like, so how does it make sense that we have to have that it's easier to train people to be astronauts in a week than it is to train astronauts to run a drill? Like, and Michael Bay's just like, shut the fuck up. Just shut. But you need those people somewhere to be like power checking and consistent, with the things and whatever.
Mhm.
And in these superhero situations, because
True. I say, right now, Ashley's theory is plausible enough to have me being like, sure.
Mm-hmm. They have a little coffee date in the middle of the day,
right?
After a session.
But then maybe that happens. Do you know what I mean? It's not like she's hiding it from him, I think.
Right. Yeah. Why would she? Yeah.
Although, I don't know. Now that I said that, she has to know that he took down Fisk, right? Like, wouldn't that have been a newsworthy thing?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that have been a newsworthy thing that, they put away with Fisk for corruption? You know what I mean? Like, she watched the news when Fisk got put away, or maybe she's not like a news watcher. I don't know.
I mean, she can't say anything regardless, right? Because she's got the patient, whatever.
Well, that's about what they say. It's not that you have them as a client. Someone can know that she has them as a client.
I think you can't disclose who your clients are.
I don't know.
I'm like 98% certain you're not supposed to do that.
But then,
unless the client elects to.
But then, do we think she did or didn't go into the relationship as a therapist with Fisk, knowing that Matt took him down?
She's a plant the whole time. Fisk center. So he can keep tabs on him. She gets reports back. No, I'm sure not, but
I don't know. The man smelled, I don't know. He felt the Punisher logo on a bullet casing. He smells he smells sweat. He smells he once smelled what Karen had for lunch that was supposedly like 3 hours ahead of time. He can probably smell it through a shower. I don't know. There's gotta be something. I don't know.
I don't know
I
a
think
shower, especially depending on soaps you use, because they can be really a lot.
They can, but
But
I don't know. Either is plausible to me.
yeah,
Yes, he can smell
yeah,
her. No, he can't. I buy into both.
I don't
mm,
know. I think
yeah. I mean, they've only had 2 sessions, so, like, it's plausible for now that, there was, like, a shower or something in between. Maybe after the first one, they didn't see each other for, like, a couple days because he was busy working on the case, and you know what I mean? That's enough
Mhm.
time to. And then this last one, like I said, she was in his apartment waiting for him late at night, so she could have
Mhm.
taken a shower and, maybe he
I
just
just think it's something to
there.
watch. It's something to watch because it
I
might get
agree.
too ridiculous.
I
I agree.
agree, I agree. For right now, it feels explainable, but if we keep going, there's gonna have to be a moment where somebody
Yep.
realizes something, whether it's her realizing about Matt and Fisk's relationship or Matt realizing, like, she's with him.
Yep. Well, then the last thing we should talk about is Frank Castle, Punisher.
Not the last thing, second to last
Oh,
thing. This, like,
okay.
Rorschach looking dude
Yeah,
who's
he
Oh,
torturing
is.
yeah, I
people?
suppose. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Cliffhangers, John.
That's right. That's
Cliffhangers.
true.
Literally, people hanging on hooks.
Yeah.
Literally hanging.
hmm He looks
It's
cool.
not
That's for
small.
sure.
It's not a small thing here, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a cool look. Okay, that's fair. I'm interested. I want to see
Mhm.
what our villain is here. Fisk is still mayoring it up, so we don't have to deal with him specifically right now.
Mhm.
I still think that's going to be season 2. So who's
Mhm.
our villain? And he looks cool.
I wonder if
We
this
can go back
villain
we
is
can go
going to
back
bring
to
the two
Frank
together.
Castle, though.
Oh.
I get it.
Okay, well, yeah, that's just it was good to see him again. I felt like it came out of nowhere. It was a little like, was this shot much later to sort of tack in here or something? I don't know. It's like all of a sudden he's like walking through and knows where he's going, and hey, Frank.
Yeah. I mean, the actual convo was a little out of the blue, but I think it was necessary for us as an audience to understand that, like, the person who shot White Tiger was not
Was
Frank
not
Castle.
right.
And
Yep.
also that, like, all of these people who have got, like, Punisher tattoos and, bullet casings and all of that, like, Frank is not masterminding this somewhere.
Right.
We as
Yep.
an audience for sure needed to see that. Was the actual content of the conversation to me a bit disappointing, and I wanted a little bit more out of this scene? Yes.
Hmm.
I hope I see Frank again because I felt it was a little rushed, it was a little inauthentic.
Oh,
It just didn't hit quite genuine for me given
okay.
some of their conversations in the OG Daredevil seasons.
What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I think I agree with Andrea a lot. So I've actually watched this episode twice.
Hmm.
And the first time I was like, where did this come from? How did he use the bullet casing to know where Frank was? And then I
Mm.
watched it the second time and I'm like, I'm still missing something. Like, therefore, I do agree that this feels tacked on a little bit because finds casing feels the indicator, but has he known where Frank has been all
I think
along?
that's the deal. I
I
think
think
that's the
so
deal. He
too.
he could, yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then,
You don't get that on, like, a first viewing. I get that. It's very
yeah,
jarring.
yeah. Conversation felt really run of the mill. I suppose if you hadn't ever watched season 3, this might be kind of a bit of a revelation or interesting dialogue between Frank and Matt, but we've just had this a whole bunch, already. So it didn't feel like anything new. You're coming to me for permission. Yeah, maybe. Been there, done that. So,
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
a
They know
it was a
where each other
necessary
stand.
yeah, it was a
mhm.
necessary convo, but it wasn't it wasn't genuine. It wasn't
Mhm.
electrifying. It wasn't revelatory. It was perfunctory.
Yeah.
I think you're right that if you hadn't seen the other stuff,
Hmm.
this puts us lets the audience know where that they can read each other. They know where they're
Hmm.
at, and whereas an audience that's come from this before, we already knew that. So,
Yeah.
Right. Frank sees through Matt's bullshit.
yep.
Um, Matt still thinks there's good in Frank, and there isn't. Like that's the whole thing with the Punisher. All the good in the Punisher is dead. That's what was weird about his Netflix show. Is it kind of was trying to tell us like, no, there's still good in him. Not really. If you go comic accurate, it's not. He's not a good guy. He's not supposed to be. He's an anti-hero for a reason. He's a very good one. Like he doesn't get along with other people. He doesn't agree with the hero thing. He does kill people that
Mhm.
probably don't deserve it, and he does it with zero remorse, right? And you know, I don't I think a little bit of that was shared in this scene. If you didn't know that already, you should know that Frank will not stop. It is not in his person to stop. That is what drives him. He is driven by this unbelievable will, but it's not a good will. It is a will to
Mhm.
just straight up do it. And I like that they painted it of like, it's because I see my little boy and he's telling me to get him, daddy, get him.
Mhm.
Fantastic. Painted a great
Mhm.
picture. But yeah, you should know this is not a good man.
Yeah.
He once was. He
Yeah.
is not now. As the
Mhm.
Punisher, he is
Mhm.
not a good man. And that needs to be known.
But also, he did not 9 millimeter White Tiger.
Right.
Do
Right.
you know what I mean?
Well,
Like this
he's
also
not
was
a, yeah.
clearly, yeah. This also was
Yes.
yeah. It was a both and. It was a both and. Like this, we need this for Matt and
Yes.
like his. I need to be Daredevil, and also like this guy isn't the guy.
Yes.
So
He's
that we
not
can open the
evil.
door to whoever is the villain.
Absolutely.
I will disagree in that I do think there is still good in Frank Castle. Like he's
In this one, there is. In this show, there is. In the comics, there isn't.
I, I mean, I don't think he works with heroes then. And I don't think that would be the case if there was nothing redeemable about him. He still has his moral code. He just isn't afraid to kill. And he sees that the right thing to do is to kill those that are, of course it's wrong to that I'm going to decide to be the judge, jury, and executioner. Of course that's wrong. But if you agree enough with his moral code, then you see him as like a just enough figure. And he
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 has
does, yeah.
he has a moral code, but his compass is way off. That's the thing about it. The guy will kill someone for stealing a loaf of bread, right? Like that's the kind of thing that pushes him beyond. He's a straight up psychopath now. I mean,
I have not seen that. I mean, like that version of Punisher, like,
mhm.
I haven't read a lot of Punisher comics, but I have not seen that kind that's like, you know, minor offense. I stub my toe on a thing you built, so I, shoot you dead. It was always like, it was more I avenge my family. Everyone that killed my family is responsible. And then from there, it's like there's a lot of these bad kind of people that did the exact same thing. They would do it to other people's families, mobs and stuff all over the place. They too, so more people don't go through the things that I do, are going to lose their life.
But then you get into like anticipatory punishment. Do you know what I mean? You get into like you are associated with, so therefore I believe you
Oh
will.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of like guilty by association, and there's no shades of gray. There's no like context for crime. Sometimes just like a relationship is enough to make you guilty, and that's not always the case. You
Well,
can't
and it's just
assume what people know or don't know or what they are or aren't willing to do. So it's very oh god, what am I thinking of, the Tom Cruise movie? Come on.
Minority
Oh,
Report.
Yeah, thank
yes,
you.
Minority.
And it's a step beyond that, because sometimes it isn't it isn't even like the people have the thoughts. It's just like somebody else that you know had the thought, so you know them, so you're dead too. You know what I mean? Like he has a containment problem. He has like
Yeah.
an appropriate, you know, I don't know, field of, you know, punishment problem, because it's like you can't just widen it to circles of everybody this person knows.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting. Read up on him a bit more. Punisher Warzone is a good one to go with, right? And listen, I am exaggerating to a point where he's not going to murder somebody for stealing a loaf of bread. But what I'm trying to highlight
stub a
is
toe.
that, yeah, his punishment far exceeds the crime in a lot of ways, because he has no qualms about it. And you are bad guy die. That's the thing. Yeah, he'll work with heroes when the goals align, but he's not friends with those heroes. He does not like them. He doesn't want their company. He's intentionally isolated. Like, that's the whole thing about him. That's why he's a great dynamic for Matt Murdock. And in this show, if you want to soften him a little bit to make him, because listen, like the real Punisher from the comics is hard to find likable, right? It's hard to build that. That is not the Punisher they're doing in this show. The John Bernthal Punisher is not that, and I'm okay with it. But the nice thing to the difference of Daredevil is constantly trying to justify his actions, and Punisher doesn't need to. They're justified for him already.
Yeah, I think that they actually do a really good version of the kind of Punisher you're talking about in that Chris Pratt show I watched, Terminalist. That I don't want to give any spoilers for it and some of that, but yeah, it's one of those things where, like, if Punisher's trying to kill someone and that person has people that are going to work for him, you don't know all those other people. Well, those people are in the way, so I'm going to kill them. They might just be random hired guy, has 6 kids or whatever. So
Right.
yeah.
I might just be walking through the hallway at the wrong time. It's always death. You know what I mean? It's always, you're here, you die.
Oh, I meant to grab my taser. Wrong side. Ah, that's it.
Right.
Yeah. Mhm. Okay. So you want to go back to this new bad guy?
I just wanted to mention him. I have no idea what's going on. I don't know what the dealio is. I just,
Mhm.
it was a creepy opening and closing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, this kind of like sad Rorschach looking guy, which is how my brain could process him.
Yeah. Alan shared a link. I'm not going to look at it. I know Mike is looking at it now, probably.
Oh, 100%.
Muse. Okay.
But yeah, I don't want.
I've got it open.
I don't want to know.
I will look at it because I can't just keep calling him sad Rorschach.
Yeah. That makes
He
me want
kind
to
of came
watch,
out of
watch it
nowhere,
again.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
especially because he wasn't even just at the end, right? Wasn't he like
He's
right
in
at
the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, it was like at the beginning, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I was glad that the end circled back around, because I was like, okay, so this is like a thing. This isn't just like
Yeah.
a leftover scene that got stuck in here somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been interesting if there'd been something planted throughout that was like his doing, and maybe there will be something with that, so it then, doesn't feel so out of the blue. But because right now it seems like we got presumably different factions. We've got the people that are sort of taking on the Punisher branding elements of the cops that are, doing this. And then you've got this guy, presumably completely separate. So I guess we'll see. I don't know. I'm excited. We got 2 new episodes available now. So hopefully it's epic. Oh yeah, no worries, Andrea.
Thanks.
Yeah, what else? Anything else, guys? I think it was a big step up from the first 2.
Agreed.
Me
Very
too.
much
I've
agreed.
got Real, no negatives, you know.
Nice.
Even the little nitpicky things are it's just that. Like I could easily choose
Right.
to suspend my disbelief. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Sure. Cool. All right. Well, that'll wrap those up. That'll wrap up this episode. Make sure you like, share, subscribe in all the places. We're on podcast directories like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. A review would be appreciated on Apple Podcasts. Video version is available on Spotify, and you can also support our show more if you want through Spotify. What else? Yeah, again, follow Mike Trackmouse
Yeah.
34. Mm-hmm.
Need to know if people want to see me talking to a camera, like with my iPhone, for more.
Yeah. So leave feedback, comments on that sort of thing. And then Killing the Flower, they wrote our theme song, so make sure to check them out on music streaming services. And that's about it. We're going to have Ohio Anime probably next to finish off Solo Leveling Season 2. And then we'll be back with more of this for more Daredevil. So thank you, Mike, for coming again.
Yeah,
And
great combo.
Andrea, thanks as always. So
Of course.
we'll see you right next
Cheers,
time.
everybody.